redemption is the battle cry tonight for these Sun Devils. But it won't be easy. The number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. And they are favored here tonight by a touchdown. This has been the Nissan pregame shift. Kickoff for number 3, Georgia, and Arizona State is coming up next. This ESPN telecast available in high definition on ABC HD. And folks, by any definition, it has been warm here the last few days in the desert. Right now, it is just about 11 minutes after 5 o'clock Pacific time, 99 degrees, but the humidity is at 23%.
It's a dry heat, right?
It is, exactly.
So is an oven.
Let's go down to Lisa Salters. Lisa?
Well, Brent, certainly the Bulldogs are favored here, but as you said, they've got some obstacles to overcome. First of all, the jet lag. This is the longest they have traveled for a regular season game in 41 years. Let's take a look at just the last 10 years. They've gone to Atlanta a couple times, sure, just 70 miles away. Okay, they've gone to Clemson, but still that's relatively close considering how far they traveled for this game, 1,900 miles. But in addition to that jet lag, they have got to deal with this heat. And Brent, yes, I know that it gets hot in Georgia, but Mark Richt was telling me that he is concerned about how the weather here will affect his team because he said for the past week in Athens, it's been relatively mild, 72 to 75 degrees. Right now, it's hovering around 96 degrees, about 10 degrees better than it was an hour ago. Rick said he is just planning to substitute early and often for his guys and hope they hang in until the sun goes down.
Yeah, exactly. Mark, Lisa, going to rotate offensive and defensive linemen. Arizona State winning the toss. They deferred, so Brown will bring it out, and the Dogs will have the first time to attack, and Brown with a gap. 35-40. The heat did not bother that dog. He is out at the 44-yard line. Kirk, what a return.
Well, big-time return and a great job of just showing his athletic ability and keeping his balance. Looking from up here, you could see there was a seam there. It was just a matter of whether or not the first man down would make the play. Wooten, the linebacker, gets there. But give credit to Brown for holding onto his balance and picking up some nice blocks and hitting that seam.
Terrific field position to start the night off for Georgia. And here is Stafford. Moreno offset a bit, and Stafford backs it up from the gun. 4 down defensive linemen rushing for Arizona State. Stafford can air it out, gonna go long, got a man open, and he overthrew him by a yard. The freshman phenom A.J. Green from Summerville, South Carolina, had a step on the corner.
That's one way Matthew Stafford likes to start a football game, and taking a chance right down the field. And Matthew Stafford, a 3-year starter, took some lumps along the way as a freshman playing in the SEC. See his record of 20-4 as a starting quarterback. The biggest difference right now with Matthew Stafford is his confidence and maturity in developing as a quarterback.
2nd and 10, and the linebackers have backed considerably off. Now one comes, and it'll be 3rd down and 10. The Dogs wanted interference that time on Terrell Carr, the junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but he had good coverage down there, according to the official. Now, let's take a look at the impact players here for Georgia.
Well, Matthew Stafford has plenty of players to work with. Brent, you and I touched on Sean Moreno and what he brings to the table, and what power and elusive and how elusive he is as a back. But the key to me is being able to throw the ball to the outside. Massaquoi and also A.J. Green, the true freshman, number 8. Keep an eye on him. They will look to isolate him against Arizona State secondary.
Can the Sun Devils get the Dogs off the field 3 and out? We're about to find out. They bluff a linebacker blitz. Back it back off. Incomplete. It's 3 and out. There's a penalty flag. Hang on. An umpire threw a penalty flag back toward the quarterback, and you all know what that generally means.
And this chop block right in the middle of the play. Arizona State brought pressure up the middle.
Chop block on the offense, number 24. Penalties decline, down will be 4.
That's Moreno with the chop block.
And no Sean Moreno trying to pick up the blitz from Morris Wooten, who's back in the lineup. He came through the middle there and cannot go down low on an incoming pass rusher. That time, no Sean Moreno making a mistake. But anyway, will be 4th and 10 for Georgia.
We saw Kyle Williams awaiting Brian Mims' punt. Now, Mims had a sensational day against South Carolina. Got off even a 77-yarder. He has good hang time. Fair catch is signaled inside the 15-yard line. So Mims does his job. But now it'll be up to Rudy Carpenter and the Arizona State offense to see what they can do.
Rudy Carpenter, a 4-year starter, a veteran. 35th consecutive start tonight. Very competitive, very emotional. He's accurate with his throws. The thing that's hurt Arizona State is protecting him. Last year, they gave up 55 sacks. He was hit numerous times, and that's the concern tonight against this strong front of Georgia. Can they give Rudy Carpenter time to throw?
Rudy said he would be checking the safety to see if he came up out of that too deep and showed blitz. Then he would check back at the linebackers, Kirk, the other day in practice. Backs it out, and they will come with Nance. Remember, their best running back is out with a pulled hamstring. So, Kirk, what about the hamstring injury, and what does that do to the impact players here?
The injury forces Dimitri Nance to go from being a role player to now being in a position where he's got to be able to make plays. But much like Georgia, Michael Jones, a receiver, can get downfield, number one. When Rudy Carpenter looks to throw it downfield, that's what he'll do. And Kerry Taylor, he's more of a receiver that they're going to try to find a way to get him in space to try to get upfield. He's very, very quick. Tonight, keep an eye on him, number 5.
Dennis Erickson criticized last week against Vegas for being too conservative. On second down, throws, and McGahee's got it 1st and 10 as he steps out of bounds on that far side. The junior from right here in Phoenix, Chris McGahee, who was a sensational high school athlete, picks it up on second down, 13-yard gain.
The first pass of the evening for Arizona State. It's a quick throw. That's one way to defeat pressure, is getting rid of the ball, thrown to the backside shoulder away from the defender. That is a great throw and a nice job by the offensive line of giving Rudy Carpenter time to throw. It's so important for Arizona State after what happened last week against UNLV to have some success early to regain their confidence.
Against that nickel, that was Prince Miller with the coverage, and Miller remains out there with 2 linebackers. Throwing on first down, high, McGahee again juggles it and makes the catch, his second, and Brian Evans delivered a pretty good hit. And there is Herring, the running back, who has been troubled by a pulled hamstring muscle, and is his 3rd missed game of the season here for the Sun Devils. So it'll be running back by committee.
You asked me in the open, how can you step up with your talented running back down? One of the ways you can do that is with the passing game, with the quick game. 3-step drops, get rid of the football. And we've seen that the last 2 times. Rudy Carpenter's just getting back and throwing it quickly.
Now the draw play off the pass look, and not going to fool the Dogs. And Lisa, let's get a little bit more on Carpenter, because you heard Kirk talk about how emotional he is.
That's right, Brent. And if there's one thing different about Rudy Carpenter this year, he told me, it's that he's now wearing a mouthpiece. I asked him why he's doing that, and he said, just so I don't talk as much when I'm out there. He said, if you look back my freshman year, my sophomore year, I didn't say a whole lot. He said, I started to talk last year because we were 8-0, and I felt that we didn't have any swagger. So I wanted to pump my team up. Now we've got a lot of young guys. I don't want them to see me too high or too low, so I'm wearing the mouthpiece just in case.
3rd and 3, and picks up the first down with Jones. So with that mouthpiece intact, they pick up their 2nd first down of this opening drive here today. And Kirk, I think you're on to something with this passing attack. They're finding space for these very, very good wide receivers, maybe the strength of the offense.
Without a doubt, the depth of the receivers is the strength of Arizona State. And right now, my guess is Willie Martinez is a defensive coordinator from Georgia. He's right there, by the way. He's probably seeing this in his first drive, and he's going to start to walk his defensive backs up closer to the line of scrimmage to take away those quick, easy throws from Rudy Carpenter.
Can that offensive line hold up to this defensive front? Strength of the SEC so often is right there in the middle. There's a whistle and a flag prior to the snap.
Prior to the snap, fair start on the offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's John Hargis. Now, Hargis is starting at left tackle. And, Kirk, when you and I did the Holiday Bowl against Texas, he was on the defensive side of the ball. Anytime you've got to switch a defensive player over to left tackle, you know how inexperienced you are in that offensive front.
Yeah, by the way, nice job at defensive tackle. Come on over and protect Rudy Carpenter's blind side for the 2008 season. It's not easy.
Double tight. Pettis, Malamala. Swing out into space. Nance. And well short. Evans, the corner. He's a junior from Jacksonville, Florida, making the stop for the Dogs.
Just touching on Lisa's report, and with Rudy Carpenter, it's been well documented that he's an emotional guy and at times gets involved earlier in his career with some sparring, going back and forth, and he felt it maybe elevated his own game. I like his approach this year as a senior, and that's the experience. Now he says he's wearing the mouthpiece, and just watching him on the field before the game, he's much calmer right now as a senior.
DeWitty's in. They drop it off to the reserve. Got back to the line of scrimmage. Normally when you see Sean DeWitty, the offense thinks the blitz is coming. He is a very good pass protector. But this time they were dropping it off to DeWitty to see what they could have from a little screen pass. And Cade Weston, one of the defensive tackles. And there's going to be about 9-10 defensive linemen who will shuttle in and out from Martinez and Richt here tonight. There you can see they're trying to stay cool over there on the sideline. Takes the time for the sun to finally set, then it'll cool down here in the desert. 3rd down and 12 now. He's going to have to step up and take off. And can he get the first down? He cannot. So Rennie Curran and Donnell Ellerby, two of the fine linebackers in the SEC. Number 35 Curran had a monstrous game last week against South Carolina.
And they brought both linebackers that time, and Arizona State does a decent enough job of picking it up. And Rudy Carpenter tonight will use his feet as often as possible, not usually to scramble to run, but just to buy more time and then to throw the ball downfield.
Here is the all-purpose kicker, Thomas Weber. Kicks off. Kicks field goals. Was the Lou Groza winner a year ago. Prince Miller will let this one bounce, and it'll go out of bounds, and they've sealed up this Georgia team pretty well after a 3-and-out. Much better field position from an Arizona State standpoint as they withstood that 44-yard opening kickoff return. Timeout. Underway. Tempe, Arizona. Number 3 team in the nation against Dennis Erickson. Erickson said, Kirk, that they need to be more physical on defense, create some turnovers. And he said we can play defense a lot better than we have at any time this year. And, of course, more specifically, the 4th quarter against UNLV when they let that 10-point lead get away from them. I formation now for Mark Richt's Dogs. Linebackers well off the line of scrimmage, waiting to read the play. No shot can make you miss. Has a gap to the 28-yard line. A lot of running room for one of the most talented running backs in the country.
What great blocks here by Georgia, coming from the right to the left. You'll see after they make the pitch here to Moreno, some blocks that set up. You have the fullback coming out, big blocks from the receivers, and look at the seam. And when you give Noshawn Moreno just a little seam with his vision and his burst, he's going to pick up a lot of yards.
And Kirk, Mark Richt has gone out of his way to praise Sean Chappis, number 49, that fullback from St. Augustine who led the way. Now Caleb King checks in at tailback. And that was him taking one step to the right and looking back and running right in the arms of Carr. So a week ago, Noshawn Moreno made a 4-yard touchdown run in the 3rd to put the Dogs up 14-7. 8 minutes left. South Carolina marched to the Georgia 2. Mike Davis tried to leap the pile, and Curran jarred it loose, and Asher Allen recovered it. Curran was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance against the old ball coach.
Close call. Anytime you can play the way Georgia played on the road in the SEC and come out with a win, survive and advance.
2nd down and 7. Oh, Stafford, what a good-looking arm that is as he snaps it off to Green. Matt, that's almost 6 consecutive quarters that the Noles have been unable to score against Wake Forest in Tallahassee. Now using the backup King, and he shows a little burst out to midfield, and we've had our first casualty, Kirk, of the temperature here tonight. As a penalty flight, by the way, back on the first casualty is you will not see the little yellow line for the first down marker, and because we'll get
I'm spoiled with it.
Holy, number 86, on the offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
The first series, Georgia had the ball. Of course, they took the shot on the long throw. Mark Richt decided to take chances. 3 straight plays, 3 straight passes. Now they're coming back to second series. Now they're starting to establish the toughness up front and run the football. Here they self-destruct a bit. But what I saw Arizona State do is say, okay, if you're going to run these running backs, we're going to walk 8 guys all the way up to the line of scrimmage, which is exactly what Georgia wants, because once they start to run, then they'll pull it out and go play action and throw downfield against one-on-one coverage.
So the tight end, Trip Chandler, was the guilty one that time, and first down and 20 after the penalty for Stafford. And he rolls toward his 2 wide receivers and throws it incomplete. The intended target was Mohamed Massaquoi. Now, the offensive line for Georgia, there's about 8 players that they will move around from time to time. And, of course, the big story there, Kirk, was Vince Vance having to step in and replacing Trenton Sturdivant out with knee surgery. Injured that knee prior to the start of the season, and he was a candidate for all SEC this year.
And last week, giving up 4 sacks, numerous hits on Matthew Stafford, still trying to find the right combination that's going to work for the Bulldogs this year on the offense.
Stafford off to a bit of a slow start. 1 of 5 for 10 yards. Of course, the penalty certainly hurt him here. Second down and 20. Noshan back on the field, and he is tripped up. You saw how patient Noshan can be. And one of the things, when you talk to coaches and players about his running ability, he can make linebackers miss. He moves to the hole, and like Barry Sanders, he can cut quickly right or left. And for a man his size, that is very unusual. That is what separates Moreno. He makes the first player, normally a linebacker, miss when he comes into that hole. Third down and 18 here, and Stafford will be looking to air it out. No blitz. 4-man rush, and they get the job done. The defensive front rushing 4 men. Lawrence Guy and Luis Vasquez, number 49. Rick going out of his way to say that number 49, Vasquez, a pretty good-looking football player to him.
And another example of the concerns that Mark Richt has with this offensive line. This is a 4-man rush. The entire pocket collapses on Matthew Stafford. David Smith with a great push. You mentioned Vasquez and his speed from the outside, but all 4 of them coming right down on Matthew Stafford.
So Mims coming in to punt again, and Kyle Williams, who is a dangerous return man. But remember, Mims can hang it high. He's got a fine leg. There's the fair catch signal. Williams makes the catch on the 37, and the Sun Devils with a little bit better starting position. But, boy, when you're on the road and your offense is a little sluggish to start, how good is it to have a quality punter like that? Timeout. They probably cater some pretty good meals up there for you and Darren. West. Here we go. First down. Swing it out now into space. Looking for daylight. And a good gain there on first down as he just quickly swung it out to Kyle Williams, who is the son of the general manager of the Chicago White Sox, and he's got some ability.
And again, Brand, it's another example of what do you do when you lose Keegan Herring? You get back to the quick game, and you use this quick passing game to replace the ability to get Keegan Herring in space. Get rid of it quickly. There's enough depth at the wide receiver position that when you get the ball to Kerry Taylor, and in this case Kyle Williams, they can make things happen, but he's getting rid of the ball quickly.
At midfield. Play fake, under pressure, steps up, takes a hit, delivers sideline. Oh, what a grab. Got it right there. And now it's waved off. The first signal was a catch. The second one will wave it off, and instant replay will take it from there.
Here's Rudy Carpenter taking a shot, had just enough time, and McGaha goes up. See if it's...
Oh, baby.
Wow.
Oh, baby, that's going to be a close one.
Yes, it is.
That foot was down, it appeared.
Oh, it's...
What do you think, partner? What do you think? You make the call.
Let's take a few more looks. I don't know if he had possession of the football.
You didn't?
Yeah.
You didn't think he had it?
Let's look at the ball.
Timeout.
McGaha
Arizona State University.
They want to make sure that there's enough time to take a look at this. Yeah, Dennis is not so sure that ball wasn't caught. His coaches upstairs have told him that that was a catch. Incomplete pass. That's what the replay booth said. Folks, take another look. The linesman coming down is going to call this complete. He is looking to mark the ball. He's running right to the spot. But the back judge is coming right at him. And he will say incomplete. Did not have possession as he went down. The replay booth took a look at it upstairs. It is very, very close and a very tough call.
What a catch. What an effort by McGahey.
2nd down and 10 for the Sun Devils. Oh, crushed by Rennie Curran. What a will linebacker. What speed he brings to the attack, and no one picks up the blitzing linebacker.
Brought the linebackers on a blitz, a cross blitz. Right here you see Gamble, and Curran comes right there free. Nobody picks him up. Right through the middle. Confusion. That time the back should have slid over and picked up the linebacker coming right to him. And last week, how about the play that Curran made to save the game at Columbia? He's all over the field for this defense. And
knocked the helmet off as Carpenter goes down. They are going to have to account for number 35. Firing down far sideline. McGahey ruled incomplete again. The side judge coming in on it. McGahey was a 3-year basketball starter over at Moon Valley High School here, and he was also the Arizona Player of the Year in football.
Look at this. Look at the effort.
He's unbelievable.
Here. He's out of bounds, but 2 in a row where McGahey goes up into the air. Shows incredible athletic ability. One hand comes down and his foot's out of bounds. It's not a catch, but it's definitely worth another look.
And they slip Moreno in as a punt returner. They did this early against South Carolina. He's back on the field again and thrown down at the 9-yard line. Terrific special team coverage that night by the Arizona State Sun Devils. A.J. Pickens among those. So was Clint Floyd coming down the field. Did a great job.
Yeah, Floyd comes down as a gunner and gets around and has the ability, because of his speed, to get down there, because if you miss Sean Moreno and you're the gunner, he's going to have a seam to run. And that time, nice job by Arizona State's coverage team, pinning Georgia deep inside their own 10-yard line.
4.5 minutes left in the first. The Sun Devils battling hard as a home underdog tonight against a 3rd-ranked team in the nation. Stafford trying to get the offense on track. Moreno surrounded, and they bring everybody after him that time. David Smith, graduate from Chandler, Arizona, here nearby, helps lead the way. His loss of 2, and the Sun Devils shaking up on the play.
Well, this Arizona State defense right now gaining confidence as this game goes on here in the first quarter. Travis Gatefeld looks like he's a little bit banged up, and off the right there, you see Craig Bray, the defensive coordinator, who right now is got to be very excited with the effort, performance of his defense and the way they are running to the football and dominating the line of scrimmage right now.
That young man next to him is Sonny Lubbock's son, Matt Lubick, is also a member of this coaching staff. You can see both of them. There you see young Lubick, the defensive coordinator over there on the right. Bray spent most of the summer up in Montana trout fishing over on the Big Hole River. All right, we've got 4:15 left in the opening quarter. Here comes a linebacker blitz. They're going to blitz the run, and they're going to wrap Moreno up. They're trying not to give him any daylight if they can. Let's go back to Matt Weiner in New York for an update. Matt.
All right, Brent, let's get a Taco Bell update on number 6 LSU, number 10 Auburn at Jordan-Hare. This is Ben Tate up and over for the score. Home team has won the last 8 of these games, and the homestanding Tigers, the one from Auburn, have the lead 7-3. In fact, it's the first half touchdown LSU has allowed this season.
That'll do it, Matt. That'll be all the scoring in that game. It was 3-2 last week, wasn't it?
LSU may be mathematically eliminated with their quarterbacks in that game.
Here's 3rd and 10 for Stafford. From the end zone, fires, caught for the first down, and more is A.J. Green. Bringing it out close to the 40-yard line. So on that 3rd down pass, a 30-yard gain, Stafford to Green.
This time, Stafford has just enough time to be able to deliver this football. This long a route takes plenty of time in the backfield. What a talented-looking true freshman A.J. Green is, and he takes advantage of one-on-one opportunity. But Matthew Stafford sits in his pocket. He needs time. Look at Dexter Davis coming from the backside, getting by Vince Vance. Just enough time for Stafford to deliver the football.
And you can see flags flying now. The defensive lineman certainly came across, and the question will be whether or not they were pulled because there was contact there.
Offside on the
They
defense.
were not.
Number 54 by contact.
That almost looked like a hard count at that time, the way they jumped across.
That's where the offensive linemen come back to the huddle and they tell Matthew Stafford, hey, you got to help us out here. They're jumping the count. And he gives it a hard count the next play to try to slow down Arizona State from trying to penetrate and get through this inexperienced and youthful offensive line. That's a great job there by Stafford.
And as a result, it is a 1st and 5 yards as the seconds tick down. Now Stafford's inside 10 on that play clock. To come with the backup tailback who breaks across midfield for the first down. Caleb King, the redshirt freshman, Norcross, Georgia.
It's pretty nice when Moreno steps out, Caleb King and Richard Samuel step in and give him a bit of a breather. Look at the vision and the cut there by Caleb King. He sets up the defender and then cuts back to the other side of him. And that happens to be one of the more experienced defenders, and Mike Nixon set him up very nicely to give Georgia a first down.
Moreno watching from the sideline. 1st down and 10 for Matthew Stafford. Power eye look again for King. And he is stopped at the 48 by Vasquez.
Arizona State struggled last week in defending the run, especially in the 4th quarter against UNLV, and a big part of the reason for that was they didn't have 2 of their inside linebackers. Gerald Munns, who was out last week, one of the leaders of the defense, number 47, and then Morris Wooten, who comes back from being suspended, gives them more depth, and they're very excited about what they could do tonight, especially against this Georgia running game.
A.J. Green, the freshman, trots back on. So he's on the field for the 2nd and 7. Got it. Behind a blocker for the 1st and 10. A.J. Green out of South Carolina. If you're wondering, how did the old ball coach and Tommy Bowden whiff on a South Carolina product like that? Well, it turns out that A.J. Green went to the football camp at Athens as a youngster. And he actually wanted to go to Georgia many, many years ago, and it never became an issue with South Carolina or the other schools. He was earmarked to go down to Athens and play between the hedges. He always loved the environment there. You have probably seen the phenomenal catch on YouTube, the one-hander that he made as a high school phenom. 1st down and 10. Play fake, going deep, looking end zone, batted away. Green was there. What a terrific defensive play by Omar Bolden. Oh, baby.
Matter of time. Once Georgia starts to run, they're going to go play action and get the ball downfield to A.J. Green, who's 6'4". But the job by Bolden, who is 5'10", to go up and over the young freshman receiver, and did a nice job with his left hand of not jumping on the shoulder to use it to go up into the air of A.J. Green. Matthew Stafford said, wow.
Oh, that was just a great
What a play.
Presence of mind. Didn't want the interception. Just batted away from him. Wow, Kurt. We haven't seen a defensive back make a better play than that. And now they come back out to the right side, and they use Chris Durham. That's his first reception of the game. Kind of throwing that quick little screen with one blocker downfield, and it's been successful to the left and now the right.
Well, they call this a look pass or a now pass. It's just a quick way. If you're going to get a cushion here, just give him the football. Take the snap, get rid of the ball, and look at the space out there. Now all you need is one block to be able to hit the seam and be able to pick up quick 12-yard gain and move the sticks.
So Matthew Stafford for Mark Richt, and the headphone is out upstairs, and usually when that happens they make the home team turn off their headsets on the other side, and obviously Mark Richt is saying that he cannot hear and he's going to call a timeout.
It's a 30-second timeout.
So Mark Richt and the staff will get it together. Let's remind you that Monday night continues on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern. Brett Favre and the New York Jets going out to play a very angry San Diego Charger team, a team that was highway robbery in Denver last week. They had a game in hand, and a bad officiating call allowed Denver to hang in it. And here's what Brett Favre has done for the Jets so far this season. 38 years old.
I'll tell you, keeps playing the game and keeps having fun and giving the Jets a chance to win some football games. Fun to watch him play. Always
Hard
fun.
to believe now that the Chargers are 0-2. So the Jets are going out there to play an angry Charger team. I mean, the Chargers are one of those teams in the Super Bowl argument.
Remember last year they started 1-3 and everybody
Yes.
thought, where's Marty? What's going on with this team? And then they turned it around and ended up winning a lot of games. I remember they beat Indianapolis last year in Indy in a playoff game. So they're not done yet.
Stafford is a young man from Dallas, Texas. He went to a great high school program down there, Highland Park, Texas. You go way back to the days of Doak Walker and Bobby Lane that came out of that high school. Stafford's daddy was a graduate of Florida State. Then became a swimming coach over Georgia way. And that's how the young man wound up playing for the Georgia Bulldogs. Highland Park has probably won more games than any high school program in the state of Texas. I say probably because I don't want anybody emailing me tonight that I made a mistake on that day.
And they will.
First down and 10, and there's another screen pass. This into the middle, and across the 10-yard line is Massaquoi. Well, they have found the play against this Sun Devil defense, and that is a screen pass. They bring this one back to the middle, Kirk.
And they bring it back to the middle, and it's a good job here of timing this up by Massaquoi because he makes the catch, and he's got to get behind 71 there, Glenn. And once he gets behind him, he's able to cut upfield and, again, pick up a first down here for Georgia. But a nice play by Massaquoi of getting back underneath the block.
Well, it took a quarter, but Georgia's threatening. And ESPN Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. 9-yard line. Stafford showing the poise of a veteran. Going to run the toss play, and no shot running for the corner. Jumps for the end zone. Touchdown. He vaults in. Noshan Moreno scores the first touchdown of the night, and that makes somebody very happy.
How about the block here by Chappis, the fullback? The guard leads around to lead him in, and then the athletic ability. Noshan Moreno with the hops we saw earlier this year against Central Michigan. He goes Reggie Bush into the corner of the end zone for a beautiful touchdown for the Dogs.
They whistled that off. I believe instant replay. Or was it a penalty?
Snap, false start.
False start.
On the offense, number 60, 5-yard penalty, still try down.
Noshan putting together quite a highlight film here after 3 or 4 games.
That's a Heisman highlight.
Oh, my gosh.
This is as good as it gets.
Look at this. Into the
And our
corner,
cameraman
up
captured
in the air. Woo!
Look.
That was pretty.
Wonder what his vertical is.
Well, you saw him against Central Michigan. When he,
over the top.
yeah, he went a hurdle
That
over
safety's
a safety.
still looking for it. This Blair Walsh, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale, adds the extra point. Noshan, a serious Heisman Trophy contender, and it's 7-0. Well, under head coach Mark Richt, the Dogs are 57-7 when they score first. And thanks to that fabulous effort by Noshan Moreno, the Dogs jump out ahead here early in the second quarter.
Mark Richt talking to Noshan Moreno has to be very excited not only about the play, but to go 10 plays and 91 yards on the road after the way the first quarter was going. Arizona State was starting to build some momentum. That was a big drive for the Dogs.
This could be out of bounds, and it will incur a penalty down in the Phoenix area. So that big celebration broke out when the Cubs wrapped it up. Here's Rudy Carpenter now, going to go deep down the sideline, incomplete, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. Going from Michael Jones. Speaking of baseball, he signed a contract with the New York Yankees and played with one of their rookie league teams.
Well, he is their receiver that they look to get the football down the field, and it's 6'4", and the acceleration that he has, he goes right by Brian Evans. Ball's pretty well thrown over the outside shoulder. It's just a matter of just getting his foot down and, of course, holding onto the ball. But good call there by Arizona State to just try to stretch the Georgia defense and to keep them honest.
When you go into deep center field to catch a fly ball over your back, you don't have somebody hanging on you, right? 2nd down and 10. Coming underneath, incomplete. That time he threw behind the receivers. Now, let's go back to the 2 Moreno sensational plays.
Well, this play right here is it's been on every highlight film that you've seen all year. You put that play and this play together.
Not close. This is a more spectacular highlight. Not close.
I'm just saying that he's going to be a Heisman candidate. He's putting together a heck of a resume.
I saw that some people were getting all upset that they didn't see the first highlight, which was nice. He vaulted over somebody and it kind of stumbled. This one is a 6-pointer. 3rd down. Carpenter trying to pick it up in the air, incomplete, overthrew the intended receivers, and that's a tough 3 and out. You know, you go back to that 91-yard drive, Kirk, and the one play we should not overlook. Remember, it was 3rd and 10 from the 9, and Stafford hooked up with A.J. Green for 30 yards. That play cannot be overlooked.
And the offensive line did just enough there to give him the time to be able to throw the football. And the worst thing that Arizona State could have done after a 91-yard drive is to go 3 and out and to give the ball right back to Matthew Stafford.
Blocked. Georgia has blocked it. And they will have field position right there. Remember, there was a critical field goal blocked in overtime by UNLV. They came right up the middle on the kicker, and that cost the Sun Devils a chance to play on in OT. Now here, watch where the pressure comes.
Comes from the left-hand side, and it's a matter of just coming very, very easily through there. I think it's Baldwin who gets a chance to get in there to make the play.
Renner, we believe that Renner got in.
Okay, you got 2 10s. Renner makes the play, but my gosh, you got to be able to make that block. Now Georgia's got all the momentum.
Now 1st down and 10, and Moreno, there was Moreno quick stepping in the hole as he made his way. There's the young man who blocked the punt. They overload the left. Hometown, Monroe, Connecticut. He watches a lot of highlights out of Bristol.
I'm sure he does.
2nd down and 6. 14 minutes left now in the first half. 7-0. Number 3 team in the nation. The Dogs came in number 1. All they've done is win, and all they've done is fall in the polls. And that's been done by a couple of teams in the past. Stumbling, Moreno regains his balance and now is driven back. Well, it's time, Kirk, for Aflac.
Going for the challenge this week?
The Kirk Herbstreit Challenge. I know you know this one. Who are the 3 former Arizona State head coaches in the College Football Hall of Fame?
I know 2 of them real quick.
Okay, you think about the other one.
Okay.
We'll come back with the answer. 3rd down. Coming up now for the Dogs. Remember Stafford, that big 3rd down to Green. He's got Green far out to the left side. And he's got Massaquoi to his right. And he may have man on Massaquoi. Let's see, the safety shades in that direction, and they're going to try a delay. Can he get the 1st down? He cannot. There's a penalty flag, however.
Vasquez, the defensive end from Arizona State, to the bottom of the screen. Definitely jumps. It was a free play for Georgia.
Offside on the defense, number 49. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, still third down.
Okay, Kirk, time's up. Who are the three?
I have Cush, Cooper, John Cooper, who's here tonight.
Interesting, because I had forgotten two. Okay, who the third one is, and he was the first. John Cooper.
There he is.
Dan Devine.
Dan Devine.
Frank Cush was on the Devine staff here in Tempe. Then Frank became the legendary head coach. And John Cooper is going into the Hall of Fame, and he'll be honored here. He'll be introduced to the crowd at halftime. So it is third down and 1. Noshan picks up the first down. A lot of people forget, Kirk, that John Cooper won a Rose Bowl with Arizona State, beating, I believe it was Michigan State up in Pasadena before he became your head coach at Ohio State.
That's right. In fact, he beat Michigan, and then the very next year he took over as a head coach at Ohio State. There's his wife, Helen, fired up to be here, ready to watch some football.
A pretty good guard is going to go in from Arizona State by the name of Randall McDaniel. He, too, is going to be honored here at halftime. And there's the 97-87 team. That was the Cooper team. 97, Bruce Snyder was the coach, and they lost to the Buckeyes in Pasadena. And Moreno was hit by Vasquez. Vasquez is a heck of a football player, folks. May have jumped on that one play, but he's a load down there at that defensive end spot.
He has such quickness. 6'3", about 265 pounds. Had a lot of experience playing the last year or two. Now he's become a playmaker within this Arizona State defense. They rely on him on one side and Dexter Davis, the junior, on the other as a tandem to give them a force up front on the edge.
Well, the Connecticut player, but he's come out to the desert. And young Clint Bowling had his hands full trying to block him, but he'll learn as he progresses in the Georgia system. And that time, they couldn't find any daylight again, and Travis Gaethel, number 44, makes the stop on King.
If I'm upstairs watching Arizona State and what they're doing, shooting gaps, blitzing, they're right now rolling the dice, intimidated by Georgia's ability to run the football. So even though they're in a shotgun, it looks like a passing formation and passing personnel, they still are trying to negate the Bulldogs' ability to control that line up front and run the ball, which they did so well in their previous drive.
Now Moreno also checks into this set. Needs 16. Stafford going to drop the screen pass off. Incomplete. Moreno touched it, so he was fair game, and Bolden pounded him.
Omar Bolden having a heck of a football game tonight for Arizona State. He's made some plays in coverage downfield when he's been alone out on an island against the Georgia receivers, but also showing that he's not afraid to get physical. They get the pressure, but he's able to weasel his way through the offensive lineman and lower the boom that time on Noshan Moreno.
Long field goal by the youngster from Fort Lauderdale. He's going to try a 55-yarder. They've got to get the 11th man out there. And I believe timeout had to be called. I believe that was Bruce Figgins, who was late to come out that time. And we see after that hit that Moreno took, he's receiving some attention over there. They've had the wind knocked out of him, because, I mean, Bolden unloaded on him after he had touched the ball. He was fair game in that situation. We'll take a timeout. A lot of trophies around this athletic department. Cook, I've got a story about Blair Walsh down our way in Florida. He came out of Cardinal Gibbons as a senior. He had 2 59-yarders. This is a 54. Hits the upright. Hit the left upright. 54-yarder in Kareem's. But again, down at Cardinal Gibbons in Fort Lauderdale, he hit 2 59-yarders.
That was from 54. It was halfway up the upright.
I'm telling you right now, he's got some kind of, he was one of the most highly recruited kickers in the state of Florida in the last decade. Wow. And Rick told us that he did not back off. He knew he had to have him as a kicker. And they brought him in, and Dennis Erickson saw it hit the upright. Talk about a fired up coach. And so that block punt did not hurt the Devils.
That's exactly right. But how about the confidence that Mark Richt has in his true freshman place kicker? Because now he gives Arizona State pretty good field position at their own 37.
Let's see what Rudy Carpenter can do. The Dogs defense was equal the last time, and Nance Filling in again for Herring. They pick up only a couple of yards. Atkins makes the stop, and it looks like the Sun Devils, can they get enough time for Carpenter to throw the ball downfield? The one-back attack that Erickson prefers and always has as a head coach sometimes leaves you vulnerable to good attacking defensive players against your quarterback.
Because they just don't have any threat at this point of running the football, it's really allowing Georgia to make them one-dimensional and to zero in on their plan.
Carpenter this time has time and drops it off in the middle. Fumble short of the first down, and the Dogs jump on it. Dimitri Nance had caught it, took a step, fumbled. I thought he might have recovered early, but then it came loose. And so let's let the officials sort this one out. It is Georgia football, according to the field.
This defense is flying to the football, and Doughton, the true freshman linebacker, gets a hand on it. There's no question that Nance took a couple steps. He had a pretty big gain. Look at the right hand there, the true freshman, and knock it loose. And then it's a scramble to pick it up. Looked like Lomax might have gotten in there first to be able to recover it for the Bulldogs.
A blocked punt. Now a fumble recovery across the 50. Can the Dogs take advantage of this opportunity? Stafford's going to throw it on first down. And the receiver slips. Green slipped as he made his cut. The throw appeared to be a little short. As we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary with Georgia leading, you can see that, as Kirk has pointed out, Arizona State just not generating any rush game without Herring.
And they started the game throwing the football quickly to replace the running game. And Georgia's made some pretty nice adjustments, but the 91-yard drive where Georgia took the ball almost a length of the field is the difference in this game.
Massaquoi slotted to the left. Green is the split end. Here is that fire to Massaquoi with Green blocking, and Massaquoi working the sideline. May have stepped out just short of the first down marker.
What a combination with Green and Massaquoi on the outside. Both give you great size on the perimeter and also great acceleration. Arizona State's going to give away that quick pass, that now look from Stafford to the slot receiver. And then it's just using your speed to get to the corner and picking up a block. And that time, it was A.J. Green's turn to pick up the block and let Massaquoi pick up yardage.
Moreno, good to see that he's back on the field. He's the tailback. 3rd and 1. Play fake. They're going to throw on 3rd and 1. Middle high. Caught at the 7-yard line. A.J. Green, who is having a big game here tonight. 29 more yards for Green.
Great throw, but it's a well-designed play here because the big tight end, Bruce Figgins, actually takes the safety away right here. They think the ball is going to Figgins, and in fact, they're going to go right over top of Figgins, high in the air, and a great throw. And how about the concentration by the true freshman, Green, to bring that in?
No wonder the NFL likes Stafford. 29 yards on 3rd and 1. The confidence that Rick shows in him. Come up firing. First down and goal again. Remember, Moreno had a brilliant touchdown early. This time he tries the middle on a cutback, and he comes up just a few yards short of the end zone.
He's a fighter. He will not go down. You think about 5'11", about 207, 208 pounds, but he brings everything. He's shifty, he has that jump cut, he has the acceleration, and he's got a huge heart. And you can see that every time he gets his hands on the football, in his mind, he's thinking he's going to get to the house. He wants to take every single handoff into that end zone.
2nd down and goal. Moreno, easy 6. Airborne for the first one. Now he trots in for the second. And Noshan Moreno has put up 12 points here tonight in Tempe. And Kirk, it's getting to be crisis time for the Sun Devils. I got 7:50 left.
Yep, they've got to get something
on the board.
Got to get something going here, and let's make sure we talk a lot about Noshan Moreno and Matthew Stafford, but the Georgia offensive line started the game. 5 guys playing 5 different positions based on where they were last week. They've settled down, given Stafford time to throw, and they're starting to take control of the line of scrimmage and open up some holes for Noshan Moreno.
A lot of folks wearing red are starting to chant SEC, SEC, and you can understand why. Pretty darn good. The Georgia defense has held Arizona State to 47 total yards of offense. The Sun Devils here are looking for anything good to happen on this kickoff return and ignite a fire as Kyle Williams picks it off back at the goal line, cuts back, and he is swallowed short of the 20-yard line. Let's go to Matt Weiner in New York for an update. Matt.
All right, Brent, Verizon Wireless update on LSU and Auburn. LSU going with 2 quarterbacks again tonight. They are combined 2 of 11, 16 yards and 1 very painful interception. Jarrett Lee's swing pass swings the other way. Gabe McKenzie scores on the pick and the touchdown. 14-3 Auburn at the half. That game on ESPN. Wake is leading at Florida State on ESPN2, 6-0 there.
I knew when I saw 14 points for Auburn, it had to be either a block punt or an interception return for a touchdown.
First down and 10. And here's Carpenter trying to light a fire. And on first down, there is a 12-yard gain in the hands of Kerry Taylor, sophomore from Chandler.
Well, that's how they got the game started. Get the ball back to Rudy Carpenter and just get it out of his hands on a quick, easy throw to a playmaker who can make somebody miss and pick up a first down.
I can't believe that Florida State cannot score against Wake Forest and Tallahassee.
That's why everybody's talking about it's a new year. They've got a quarterback, and it might eventually happen. It still could happen in that game, but you just want to see it until you can believe it.
There's the handoff to Danson. Penalty flag is down.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, this defense here, you can see what they've done in the first half. Down between the hedges, they have been dominant.
Last week, they were dominant in the first, really, 3 quarters against South Carolina. In the 4th quarter alone, they allowed 166 yards passing to South Carolina, but were fortunate to create the 2 turnovers to be able to hold on to a victory. Tonight, they've been, you're right, dominant's the right word.
1st and 5 after the penalty. And nothing doing there. This will be 2nd down and 5 as Nance is stopped by Lomax.
The first drive Arizona State had, they were mixing some things up, probably staying close to the script. They had 8 plays in their first drive. They ended up punting, but at least they were able to settle down and get ready for tonight's game. And since then, 4 plays and a punt, 3 plays and a block punt, 2 plays and a fumble. Now we'll see what they do here on this drive. But after that first drive, Willie Martinez and Georgia have really locked in and figured out exactly the adjustments they need to make.
2nd and 5. Receiver was covered, so he basically threw that one away. 1 hopper. And a penalty flag comes down.
It came high. It didn't look like a late hit, but he might have come high at Rudy Carpenter and hit him up close to the neck and up by the face mask.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 99, hands to the face mask of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Brent, he doesn't hit him late. It's up at the top of your screen. When 99 doesn't give up on the play, but he comes high. And I don't know if that look didn't show that he hit him in the face, but it looked like I think his hand might have gotten up into the face mask, because if he hits him in the shoulder there, he's fine. His hand must have gotten up in the face mask.
And that will move the ball near midfield for this 1st and 10 for Carpenter. Sun Devils will see if they can build it. The lineman jumped as Rudy was coming up to change the play call. Fanica pulled back out.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
So a little problem with communication down there for the Sun Devils, and someone who is enjoying the first half. And this is the new August 7.
Oh, I love it.
Staying hydrated over there. He had his first jet trip out here, folks, and his first butt trip. That's right. Say hello to everybody.
He needs some ice.
The all-time best. Oh, yeah. Yes, how good is that? Huh? Yeah. Your twins who are here, they'd enjoy seeing Huggy.
Yeah, they will.
He's a big hit. First down at 15. Throws complete, and Jones slips it free down the sideline, and he crosses the 35 to the 34-yard line.
How about the one-on-one opportunity here for Michael Jones? Usually a down-the-field threat. This time, sells it like he's going down the field, and all he does is shake Brian Evans, the junior. He shakes him loose, and because he's out there by himself, there's nobody else to prevent Jones from turning upfield and picking up another first down for Arizona State.
22-yard gain for Michael. First down and 10, and play was whistled dead prior to the snap.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 12 players were on the field, longer than 3 seconds. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So Miller did not get off in time. And ball will be spotted at the 29-yard line. It'll be a first down and 5. Marcus lobbying on the far side. He wants the next one.
He's saying, hey, if they're gonna substitute, we have to be given an opportunity to get our men on and off the field as well. That's the explanation that he wants. All of a sudden, Arizona State, with their back against the wall here at the end of this first half, got the aid of the personal foul call, but still moving the ball deep into Georgia territory. This is a big drive for Arizona State.
McGahey slotted to the right. No hole, so he bounces out, and just nothing doing for Nance that time. And the first player was Irvin. Let's go down to Lisa. Lisa, how's Uga doing down there?
Well, Brent, I tell you, this dog is like a rock star, and Kirk was mentioning that he didn't have any ice. That's because the sun has now gone down. He's just kind of hanging out right now. He doesn't need it. I've been told that as long as he stays pink, that he's all right. He's not panning too much. He's not blue, so he's cool. But in his little kennel, he does have a bag of ice, so he is literally chilling when he's in there.
Yes.
What a face.
Second down and 6 on the toss now. They switch to DeWitty. DeWitty has checked in, and our man Curran comes up with another defensive sparkle.
What do you think of the speed here, Kirk? I mean, he is as fast as you will see as an outside linebacker. The one thing that happened there that allowed Georgia to make the play was just getting upfield and forcing him. DeWitty has to cut up underneath because of Dent containing him. And then when you contain a back with the speed of Georgia's defense, they will chase you down every single time. Good-looking sophomore linebacker.
3rd and 8. Stepping up, incomplete. Now a decision for Dennis. He doesn't hesitate. He's got the field goal unit coming off that sideline. He wants to get something up on the board.
That's one that Rudy Carpenter would love to have back. Rare time that he had all the time in the world. He had a crossing receiver in man coverage. He short-armed it right into the ground with a wide open receiver that would have given him a first down.
So Weber will attempt a 49-yarder. The Rosa Award winner of a year ago curls this one in. And Arizona State is on the board, but hang on, there's a penalty flag.
Gotta wonder if Georgia's trying to jump up illegally there. They're kind of defending themselves.
Personal foul.
Well, that's personal foul. That's first down. That is a big one.
They see they're leaping. That's the. Again, Mark Richt wants an explanation, but if you use one of your teammates to try to help elevate yourself up to block a field goal, that can be illegal. Or if you land on top of a pile as you go up, it can be illegal.
Leaping on the defense, 15-yard penalty.
You don't often take points off the board, but this is a no-brainer. Automatic first down of 15 yards puts Arizona State inside the red zone at the 17-yard line.
And all that is a safety issue. The rule, he didn't use anybody to go up in the air. Goodman goes up, and as he comes down on top of the pile. And that's what the call was. He got up in the air. But landing on top of the pile, they'll call that 15 yards. And Brent, you're right. It's rare to see points come off the board, but they've got to get a touchdown.
Carpenter to the 10-yard line, and Jones. Jones defended by Evans.
See, they don't have the running game once they get inside the red zone to be able to mix it up. So Dennis Erickson still with a one-dimensional attack. He just has to figure out a way to trick Georgia's defense down in this area to be able to come up with a touchdown.
They use DeWitty when they come into the red zone. Pretty good pass blocker. This time they're going to let him be the ball carrier, and he cannot pick it up as Curran again meets the attack.
It's not about Nance or DeWitty, or even if Keegan Herring were in there. It's a matter of Georgia controlling the line of scrimmage. It's as simple as that. Curran again in the middle of the play, all over the field for this Georgia defense. Boy, he has such great instincts from that linebacker spot. Another tough call. You'd think it's 3rd and 2. Let's run the football. I don't think they can make it if they decide to run again. I'd move Rudy Carpenter to the outside. He's got enough quickness to get away from the pressure.
They're going to run a toss play. They're going to bring a freshman to the attack, and he didn't get it done. Curran again coming up and making the stop.
Very few backs can get to the corner against the speed of Georgia. Trying to get away from the dominating front that Georgia has. They go to the outside, but look at Curran just chased down. That's a mismatch. Curran beats him to the corner easily. It sets up this field goal again for Arizona State.
A 26-yarder from this hash. Again, he puts 3 up on the board. 14-3, so 35 yards of penalties, and Arizona State still has to settle for a field goal. Coach is not happy about it.
Well, the Dogs have got plenty of time here, Kirk, to work with. 2:38. You think they'll play conservative, or they'll air it out here?
I think they're going to, with Matthew Stafford, even with the lead. Arizona State gets the ball to start the second half. There's no question they should continue to try to attack.
Remember, Brown had a 44-yard return earlier in this game. This time a nice return out to the 30-yard line. Sunday, your favorite television stars come together all in one night. The Primetime Emmy Awards live. It all starts at 7, 6 Central with Jimmy Kimmel's Big Night of Stars on ABC. So Stafford, Moreno, and the rest of the Dog offense. There's a lot of red here in the stands tonight, folks. A lot of Georgia fans made their way here to the desert in Arizona. Started to cool down as the sun sets. Getting right comfortable out here now. Stafford's got a wide open receiver at midfield, and it's the freshman Green. Too big a cushion for him.
Too big a cushion, and an idea of how strong Matthew Stafford's arm is as he puts this ball out in front of Green. The cushion is there, you're right. But boy, this is the area that Matthew Stafford works so hard on in the offseason, is his footwork and his fundamentals. It's a simple throw from up here, but when it has the velocity that this young man throws the football with, it gives Green a chance to turn upfield and run.
Green with a 100-yard night here. 105 yards on 5 receptions already. Stafford going to keep it. Yeah, what a grab by the youngster again. What a half he's having as a freshman. A coming out party for A.J. Green. 6'4", 200 pounds. Tack on 30 more yards. That's 136 yards in the first half.
And the tight end Chandler gets to the middle of the field again, just enough for Troy Nolan, who's patrolling center field, to get occupied, and it opens up the middle of the field. And my gosh, we just continue to see Matthew Stafford get back, put the ball up high, and let the big, tall freshman go up and make a catch. What soft hands A.J. Green has.
I think everybody's seeing why Georgia's one of the elite teams in the country this year. I don't have any question about that. Here's Moreno. Stepped out to the left. That was a nice tackle that time as he is stopped. Well, there's your top freshman here.
Before the season started, and I remember the Alabama people, because they've got a great receiver too, and Julio Jones, they said, how could you dare put A.J. Green on there before a game's played? And truthfully, Julio Jones should probably be on there, but what a great combination of SEC receivers we've seen in these first few weeks, a true freshman.
Rick says he did not recruit Jones. Once he had Green coming in, he was satisfied.
You blame him?
Not at all. Not with what we've seen here tonight. Play fake. Stafford got a wide open receiver, and he was slipping as they slipped Chappis out. He was wide open, losing his balance. That would have been a walk-in touchdown.
Well, if you've watched Mark Richt as a play caller over the years, you know the fullback is eventually going to slip out, and that's exactly what he did, and he's wide open. Munns comes up, the linebacker, and Matthew Stafford knew that he had it. Mark Richt and now Mike Bobo, they always wait that when a defense starts to overcommit and forget about the fullback, they fake it. Linebackers out of position. That was a gimme, but the fullback Chappis goes down and couldn't keep his balance.
3rd and 8. Big on both sides. Final seconds ticking off of the first half. Stafford fires in zone, touchdown, and guess who? Green. A phenomenal first half. Forget about Rookie of the Year. How about the Bolitnikoff Award? He's saying, I'm a candidate right now here tonight in Tempe, Arizona.
We saw Michael Crabtree last year step in as a freshman and do some things and win the Bolitnikoff, and I think you're seeing A.J. Green get more and more comfortable, and more importantly, Matthew Stafford feel more comfortable and going to him.
So Walsh tacks on the extra point. Green for the night. 7 catches, 150 yards, and that touchdown. Timeout. There's the hero of the first half.
Brent, this is an easy look and an easy throw for Matthew Stafford. When you have one-on-one opportunity, I want you to look at the size advantage and how easy a throw this is for a veteran quarterback. When you have an opening right here, look at the spot out here to throw. And when you have a receiver who is 6'4", and he's got all that room to work with to the outside, there's no way anybody behind him can defend that pass. In this case, it was Troy Nolan.
I don't know how he's going to do short pooch kick. And it bounces past the return man, finally fielded at the 14-yard line by Floyd. And he is not. You know, Kirk, I never know how somebody's going to do in the NFL, but I know why they like that Stafford arm. That's his arm. Let's go to Matt Weiner in New York.
All right, Brent, let's take a check of the primetime pulse. They're into the 3rd quarter on ESPN. LSU trailing Auburn 14-3. The LSU Tigers managed just 16 yards passing in the first half. And Wake Forest leads Florida State on ESPN2, trying to become just the 2nd ACC team to ever beat the Seminoles 3 straight times.
That would be something if it turned out to be Wake Forest that accomplished that, Matt. A great coaching job being done by that staff, and short gain to the right side. And I want to remind everybody that coming up now on the Bud Light halftime report, John, Craig, and Jesse Palmer will have highlights from the nation's top teams, including the primetime SEC battle going on.
You made a comment about the arm strength that we've known about his arm strength for the last couple years. He's maturing as a quarterback. Peyton Manning said to me this summer, and he came to his Peyton Manning's camp with his dad, Archie, and his other brother, Eli, and he said, you know, it takes a lot for me to watch a college quarterback and to really be impressed with the ball, know how fast it comes out, how it explodes out of his hand. He said that's how he felt when he watched Matthew Stafford.
High snap led to that. Ball on the ground, going for the loose ball. And the Sun Devils saved that, which could be disastrous had the Dogs recovered it. 21-3. Final seconds ticking away here.
He's lucky to get the snap, let alone the fumble here. Surprised with the clock.
That's Dobbs coming in from behind. He delivered that hit. Nance saved the moment as he pounces on it. And we come to the end of the first half. The number 3 team in the nation with a 21-3 lead. Let's go down to Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Coach, after a so-so first quarter, describe to me the impact that 10-play, 91-yard touchdown drive had on your team.
Yeah, that was huge. We needed it. You know, we were deep in our territory and completed a 3rd and long to AJ. That's really what did it. Just gave Stafford enough time to make a good decision and make a good throw. And once we got that, it gave us some confidence.
You brought up his name, your freshman wide receiver, AJ, 7 receptions, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. What are you seeing out of him tonight?
Well, I think we finally figured out we ought to throw it to him more. All right.
Good decision, Coach. Brett.
Yes, indeedy. Well, folks, stay tuned now for the Bud Light halftime report. John Saunders, Craig James, and Jesse Palmer right after this. We welcome you back to Tempe, Arizona. Arizona State hosting Georgia. First time these two schools have ever met. And the Bulldogs took over in the second quarter. They lead at 21-3. Now Arizona State here with the opening drive of the second half needs to get something going and on the board. They've had to settle for 1 field goal. Kickoff is fielded by Kyle Williams. Kyle looking for an alley. And he is out to the 29-yard line, and it is time, Kirk, for our Southwest Airlines playbook.
Well, we expected to see some big plays from Sean Moreno tonight, and we did. He got started early, took a big hit from Omar Bolden, but just kept coming back. Here, a big hole opened up by the offensive line. Sean gets his second touchdown, but the play of Matthew Stafford, and especially true freshman A.J. Green. A.J. Green, 7 receptions, 150 yards, and a score. He has been all over the field in a mismatch for this Arizona State secondary.
So Rudy Carpenter starts things off in the gun. The running game hasn't done anything, and Nance gets the first carry. Net 4 yards in the first half, so they have just equaled that on a 4-yard gain. And there you can see what Kirk told you about. And Moreno, not a real good average. They've done a pretty good job stopping him up around the line of scrimmage, but he had that spectacular touchdown, then walked in for the second. But it has been Green, as Coach Mark Richt told Lisa, that has been the difference in this game.
And they talked about it leading up to this week. A lot of people within the media saying, when are you going to get him more involved? You've seen Matthew Stafford spreading it around. They said this, hey, we're learning. We've got to get him the football. And that's exactly what he told Lisa at halftime.
And they get the first down. It is Jones to the 41-yard line and thrown down by Evans. And Evans, a corner from Jacksonville.
Well, usually if Rudy Carpenter has time to throw, he's got not only the physical abilities to make the throws, he's got a great collection of receivers. And we've seen Michael Jones on the other side. All the talk about A.J. Green. About the number 1 from Arizona State, Michael Jones making some plays too.
Players shaking up down the field. You know, we talk about Arizona State and all the great athletes, Barry Bonds and those people. Kirk, there aren't many schools that can say that they've had athletes play on the last 3 major professional championship teams, okay? The Giants in the NFL, Ray Rugemer, offensive lineman in front of Eli Manning, okay? Boston Celtics, Eddie House, reserve guard on that team. Boston Red Sox second baseman Dustin Pedroia. There are not now. Somebody's going to come up with another school out here, but that's pretty good. I mean, there's some very, very outstanding athletes who have come out of the desert.
Yes, the athletic ability has been at Arizona State for years. I think what we're seeing tonight, at least in the first half, is the difference in this game up front. The depth and the strength of Georgia in the trenches is at a different level. But they've got great skill out here.
Wide open again, and a big game with Taylor. Taylor in a foot race and out of bounds across the 35-yard line. Miller finally forcing him out, but that's a 26-yard gain. And here we come to the opening drive of the second half. So very, very important.
Well, this is what we saw from Arizona State on the first drive at the beginning of this football game, is just trying to be able to take advantage of soft coverage. This time, Bird to safety is off. When you get the football, it's, again, an opportunity to get it to Taylor against the safety. All he has to do is make Bird miss, and there's plenty of yardage after the missed tackle.
And Kirk McGahey with a fine block downfield. A lot of wide receivers. Also good blockers. Arizona State, Georgia, lots of schools in trouble. Here comes the blitz. Stepping away is Carpenter. Wide open inside the 20-yard line. He hits Taylor again. Rolling in was Allen in pursuit on the blitz.
The corner comes from the boundary and almost catches up to Rudy Carpenter from behind. A little play action, but you can see Allen coming from behind, and this was Willie Martinez's primary concern. Rudy Carpenter scrambling to buy time and then finding open receivers downfield, and again he finds number 5, Kerry Taylor.
And McGahey broke free into the end zone. They had overloaded that side, and they've got something going on this drive. In the red zone now. First down and 10. Toss play. Can Nance find any daylight against this tough front? Cannot. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, and Curran, number 35, I think I called him a redshirt freshman in the first half. He's a sophomore, but he is just outstanding.
Anytime Arizona State runs the football, Brent, just say Curran, because he's coming.
Amazing.
He's eventually going to get to the football. And the coaches just go on and on and on about Curran as a sophomore. Look at that C on his chest. How often do you see in the SEC a sophomore with a C as a captain for a defense? That tells you what the players and what the coaches think of Rennie Curran.
Second down and 10. Caught by Jones. Pulled it in for a first down. It's 1st and goal for the Sun Devils.
This time, Georgia came on a blitz, one-on-one here, and the ball is thrown perfectly on time, back so Jones can come to it. It's pretty good coverage by Brian Evans, but because he was sitting back, the ball is thrown back to the opposite side of Evans. He cannot go through the body of Jones and make the play. Well thrown ball by Rudy Carpenter.
Nance is still a running back on this 1st and goal. Up the middle. Nance to the 5-yard line, running hard that time. Now, I know there's a lot of people, Kirk, who are saying, oh, why are they running the ball? Why are they running the ball? They do so much. There are coaches who are brilliant play callers who will always tell you, you cannot give up on the run. At any time, you've got to show the other team that you've got it at least a few times as you come downfield.
And they've run tonight 15 times. They have 11 yards. They're not going to win this game tonight by running, but
Absolutely.
You're right. You have to show at least a threat to make those linebackers and safeties respected.
Quick pass. Taylor is swallowed on the outside that time as it did not fool Jones. And Jones, Coach Rick said, has got the talent to become an all-SEC safety.
Jones makes the play, but give all the credit to 5, C.J. Bird, for getting off of McGahey and forcing him to cut back into the inside where Jones is waiting for him. Great play that time by the senior Bird.
Yeah, that was a nice play by Bird, Kirk. Good pickup on that one, and now we've got 3rd down and goal. And now they need to find someone, whether it's a tight end, running back, somebody in the end zone here on 3rd and goal. Georgia bringing heat. Got a wide open walk-in. The tight end, Andrew Pettis. Opening drive of the second half, and Rudy Carpenter and the Sun Devils answer quickly. Thomas Weber, the Groza Award winner from a year ago, tacks on the extra point. Well, is it game on, or will the Dogs answer quickly? We're about to find out when we come back. This ESPN telecast available in high definition on ABC HD. Rudy Carpenter with the touchdown pass. Now we'll see what Georgia responds with. Something thought maybe Lucy pulled the ball away or something down there. Let's go back to the touchdown, Kirk.
You have a bunch formation here, and what you're going to see is just a simple route, but it creates confusion. Remember last week, Georgia had a few breakdowns. Look at the collection of defenders right here. Very easy throw for Rudy Carpenter. Willie Martinez, the defensive coordinator from Georgia last week, very concerned in that fourth quarter against South Carolina because of some mental errors. That was another example of it right there.
Out to the 33, put it down, fumble, dive for the loose ball. It's a very important tug of war. One signal already says that the Dogs have got it. The runner was down there in a tug of war, but Wilson came up with the football.
The ball comes out without a doubt. And it was out there to be taken.
Underneath Chappis, huh?
Yeah, Chappis
doesn't know where it is.
Look at this. I mean, it's right there. Arizona State late reacting, and a good heads-up play there by Georgia to recover that. It's a big drive here.
The 32-yard line now for this Dog attack. Play fake Moreno. And complete for a first down to Trip Chandler. 1st and 10. I formation. Toss play Moreno and end around. They bring Green, and look at the quarterback out in front of him, and Green picks up a first down. We got a flag. You saw it thrown by the linesman. It was a flag back by midfield. They brought the reverse with Green that time, and let's see what they're headed back in the direction of that yellow.
Did Mike Bobo wait for the perfect time to call that reverse? There was nobody from Arizona State's defense in the bottom half of the field.
Tripping on the offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Did not name the culprit.
Well, it was Massaquoi. Stuck his left leg out, and I don't think he even affected Troy Nolan. But he stuck his left leg out there to try to take down the defender.
If you run a red light and don't hit anybody, you're still, guilty.
Watch his left leg. He just sticks it out there. I mean, he didn't do anything.
Well, that's a bad call.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
I thought he interrupted his own
left
guy.
leg comes out.
Doesn't he interrupt Green more than anything else? That's what it looked like to me.
Dicey.
Incomplete. Pacific Life game summary here, Kirk.
It's been an interesting game because early it looked like Arizona State might have some momentum, but boy, Georgia started to put together that long drive of 91 yards, 10 plays, and from that point on, it became their football game. But give Arizona State credit. It doesn't necessarily show up in the stats here, but to take that opening drive down 21-3, the only way they get themselves to believe they can win this second half is to score on that opening drive, and it's exactly what they did.
And now they've got Georgia backed up in a 2nd and 20. And a 4-man rush. High diving, incomplete. Chris Durham.
I don't think there's another quarterback in college football, and there might be a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL that have the arm strength and the ability to throw the seam route like Matthew Stafford. Play action, throws the ball. If it's up a little bit higher, Durham's running back to Athens. If he throws that well before Durham's even thinking of looking back for the football. If it's a little higher, Durham walks to the end zone. Must be a long run to Athens, huh?
Yeah, indeed. Over 1,000 miles. Didn't Lisa tell us that? On third down now, Stafford. And hold on. Flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That time Matthew was a little too patient.
Yeah. It's not like him to
No, it isn't.
lose sight of that. And that's the first time, I think, really the entire game. Lisa could tell us better for being down there, but it seems like first time the crowd has really been a factor with the communication since Georgia's been at the line of scrimmage.
Now they're making more noise than they did in the first half. You're right, Kirk.
Gotta be careful here if you're Georgia.
Third down and 25. Play it very conservatively, and here comes Moreno. Short of the first down, and they'll bring their fine punter Mims onto the field. Early in the first quarter, when they were just jockeying back and forth for field position, he did an outstanding job.
I'll give Arizona State a lot of credit here. As I said, they took their opening drive, they went down the field, scored a touchdown. Now they force Stafford and Georgia to punt, and they get the ball back.
So Kyle Williams, his dad Kenny, fine general manager of the Chicago White Sox. He waits for Brian Mims' punt. For the snap.
University of Georgia timeout number 1.
Now,
30 seconds.
that
timeout.
on a punt is a waste of timeout.
Yeah, especially in the second half on the road. You know, you're up 11, but you never know what direction the game might go. You need to hold on to all those timeouts. It's not a happy Mark Richt down on the sideline. Who you picking there to win the whole thing?
I like Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the car. He's got the car to beat.
But Jimmy will be tough, and Kyle might be able to make a run at him, but Edwards is awfully good. There's another flag. Another penalty. Big leg, but there is another flag.
There's a lot of movement from Georgia. It looked like the fullback, the protector, the personal protector, was moving around a lot. Benjamin Boyd. I don't know if they caught him. Yeah, he's in the middle of calling out the blocking scheme. See him moving around, telling everybody what direction, and he's not set. Boy, Mark Richt is going to have some fun in the film room on special teams.
Well, that is, I suppose, if you're looking for vulnerabilities with this team, that has been a negative for them. Penalties.
Well, last week that was a big concern. Some sloppy play from this team. That's one way to. Mark Richt, usually a pretty calm, cool, collected head coach on the sideline. You want to see any head coach lose their cool. You have a couple mental errors on the special teams, up by 11, playing on the road.
Brian Mims will do it again. He's standing inside the Dogs' 20-yard line.
He had a heck of a fourth quarter last week, putting South Carolina deep in their own territory a couple of times.
Williams has moved up to the 27-yard line. High kick. So that is about a 27-yard difference, about 7. That one, the end zone will come out the 20, and they'll take over this time on the 27. So they gained 7 on it. We've got a timeout. A great Sun Devil, Barry Bonds, and he was only 3rd in the most home runs hit here, 45. So think about who were the 2 who hit more home runs here at Arizona. That is a bonus Aflac. As you look down at these great aerial shots, courtesy of our friends at Outback Steakhouse, proud sponsor of the Outback Bowl, the Bloomin' Onion 1, and a play fake, and Rudy looking sideline, uses Nance to the 32-yard line. So you can work on that.
I'm going through the Rolodex there.
I'm going to admit it.
I heard of him?
I don't know the answer.
Okay.
But George Hill is about to go on a quest.
George, have I heard of these guys?
It's a shame we don't have any fun on this broadcast, Craig.
I'm sitting here trying to play. When Barry Bonds was in the College World Series, think about every year the superstars that would show up at Omaha.
That's amazing.
Pete Incaviglia, Oklahoma State, Robin Ventura.
Here's second down now. In trouble. This time, he's going to be ripped down by Justin Houston, redshirt freshman. Dogs used a lot of defensive linemen here tonight.
That's their theory, is rotating a lot of linemen in. And this is a very good sight for the Georgia fans, and more importantly for the Georgia coaches, to see pressure with 4 coming into tonight's game. Georgia only had 1.5 sacks from their front 4. It's made them have to get pressure by blitzing. That time, the pressure is there, and it's nice to see the athletic ability and the depth up front from this Georgia front line. They're finally starting to get healthy on that defensive line.
Timeout. Carpenter had to call timeout. Did not have the play. You know, we're looking at that line blocking, and the one spot that Dennis Erickson needs a lot of help is at right tackle. We'll talk about that when we come back. Here's Matt Weiner in New York. Well, I mentioned the right tackle spot where they've had some problems over there, and there was a youngster, a redshirt freshman from Helena, Montana, that Dennis Erickson is hopeful can move in there before the season's over. Matt Husted, his father, had played up at Montana, and Dennis knew the family, and the young Husted was going to become a Grizzly in Missoula, but they offered him a scholarship down here, and Dennis thinks he has great upside and that he will move in and become his starting right tackle. So Carpenter comes up now on a 3rd and 9 after the timeout. Pressure. They dropped it to Nance. He was the hot receiver, just short of the first down. Darrell Gamble, he's the Sam linebacker.
Ellerbe came on a blitz from the outside, and it looked, once Rudy Carpenter got the football off, it looked like if Nance had just a little bit more acceleration, that he might be able to pick up the first down. And that's another example. Without Keegan Hearing in this lineup and without that burst in the backfield, it really does handcuff what Arizona State's trying to do with their offense tonight.
So now Weber back to punt. Fielded at the 22-yard line and smacked out of bounds big time that time. So Troy Nolan came over. He delivered the hit, and we'll take a timeout. For only the 2nd time this year, the 3rd-string quarterback, Logan Gray, returns a punt, and he hauled it back 11 yards. He's a redshirt freshman out of Columbia, Missouri, and they have really stockpiled the quarterbacks here at Georgia. And what a
welcome to the game, Logan. Take that.
The reason why he's on the bench, Matthew Stafford and Joe Cox. And here comes the big fella running to daylight, Moreno. The 45, the 40, and steps out of bounds.
Nice block here by Vince Vance, coming around from the left side around to the right. Feels pretty good when you're a tailback and you follow a guy that's 6'8", 325 pounds through a hole, and once he picks up his man, there's nobody left. It's the old power play. A lot of teams run it that have great tailbacks, and no Sean Moreno again in open space is not fair to any defense.
27 more yards for Moreno, 79 on the night. Fumble by Stafford, and the fullback, I believe, pounced on it. I believe Chappis moved right up and saved it.
Chappis has been around a couple fumbles tonight. One time he was involved in one, and this time he recognizes the ball's on the ground, and nice move there to just pick it up as quickly as he could before Arizona State got another break here.
Yeah, Chappis is a terrific football player.
We have not called A.J. Green's name in a little while now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to get him the football here in the next play or two.
Stafford throws instead to Massaquoi. And Massaquoi Across that yellow line for another dog first down, and here comes a big drive now that the Dogs have mounted with 4:53 left in the third. Kirk
got some pressure here, but Matthew Stafford having room to step up, and then watch the sidearm laser into Massaquoi as he's able to hold on to that football and then turn and pick up a first down. It's very nice for a quarterback when he has room in front of him to step up into the pocket. It's much easier to keep your focus downfield and throw the football.
First down, Moreno bounces outside, and the defense stretches him out. Omar Bolden, who's a tough corner, gets him out of bounds. And near the end of the game, we'll select the Chevrolet player of the game from each team, and Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each University General Scholarship Fund.
These Georgia wide receivers have really helped Matthew Stafford out tonight. Last week, number of drops, at least 4 crucial drops that would have either been first downs or touchdowns. But tonight, as a group, they are focused, and when they have their chances, they're securing that football.
12 of 22, Stafford is for 200 yards. They got a timeout. They didn't have the personnel out on the field. They were bringing King in along with Chappis, and coach cannot be too happy.
Second time miscommunication that Mark Richt has had to call a timeout.
Well, ABC's Emmy-nominated Dancing with the Stars returns Monday with a 3-night live premiere event. Warren Sapp, Misty May Traynor, and Maurice Green are among the 13 new stars competing in what promises to be the biggest and most demanding season yet. Warren Sapp?
I watched that show.
I know you do. And they've had some great athletes dance. Hey, speaking of great young athletes, there are the Herb Street twins down there.
Still up.
Of course.
Out here in the crowd, they're into it.
They're looking at the replay board. They want to see what's going on out there.
I'm a fan of the show.
But talk to me about Warren Sapp. You know, I know his mouth dances a lot.
Oh, yeah, can the big fella...
What about his toes?
I bet the big fella can move around.
Does the polar bear rumble?
You know, a lot of times contestants advance because of their personality alone. And I think Warren Sapp, an early read from me as a viewer, is that he's going to advance regardless of how badly he dances or if he's great, just based on his personality.
Well, you let me know. Keep me posted on that. Baseball playoff time. King is the running back. Play action, Stafford, sideline, and that Massaquoi. First down for the Dogs. I'll tell you, Stafford's arm is just something to drool over if you're looking at it.
Again, I think he's physically the most talented quarterback. And the strongest arm, by far the strongest arm in college football. The timing between Massaquoi and Stafford it puts the defense at such a disadvantage because he's throwing that before Massaquoi even turns. And this year, Matthew Stafford stepping into his targets and making very, very accurate throws.
And back with King. And he muscles his way. It was a strong run by Moreno's backup. Moreno trots back out.
That was an area that Matthew Stafford, I mean, imagine coming into the SEC as a true freshman and trying to compete with these defenses that you see this week. We talked about on College Game Day some of the best defenses in the country, and you see it every year. When you're a true freshman, you can't even see what you're reading. You're just hearing players move around. Now, after a couple years of experience, the game starts to slow down. He's worked hard on his fundamentals. So now with all his physical ability, now you're seeing a complete quarterback under center for Georgia.
2nd and 6. Lobs for the end zone and dropped. Massaquoi had a shot. See, that's the kind of ball you got to throw on Sunday. Nobody can get to it but the receiver.
He throws it, and he has so much room to work with to the outside, and that's where he puts this football for Massaquoi to go and just run right underneath. Perfectly thrown football. Massaquoi probably makes that catch 9 times out of 10. It's a tough catch, but he secured the ball. He's just unable to hold on to it.
3rd and 6, and Walsh ready in case they need him for a field goal here. to the end zone and incomplete. They wanted Green, and that time the defensive back, Sinkfield, got in front of the receiver. They went up.
Arizona State got pressure, and a big part of the reason is they brought the linebackers. Wooten from the middle gets to Stafford. They also brought Nixon, left themselves one-on-one to the outside. The ball is slightly underthrown, which allowed Sinkfield, who's kind of the technician of all the corners for Arizona State, to be in position and knock that ball away from Green.
So here's Blair Walsh. Chip shot. 24-10. Georgia of the SEC leads Arizona State of the Pac-10. Sun Devil Stadium, Frank Kush Field. Georgia 24, Arizona State 10. But Dennis Erickson was saying good job, and Uga loves the score at the moment. Dennis said good job to his defense because basically they kept him in the game with that field goal. Kept him down there to 2 scores. Very important. And when you think about the future, Rudy Carpenter, of course, is a senior quarterback. And who is going to step in here? His backup, Danny Sullivan, will take over. You see that young man right there, right in the back? All right. That is John Elway's son. Number 7, redshirt freshman. He played Matthew Stafford in practice this week. And here's a kickoff fielded on the 6-yard line by Williams. And Williams breaks free for a fine return to the 40-yard line. Take another look.
This is the second time we've seen Arizona State find a seam in this Georgia coverage, and it's just about toughness and acceleration and just a great feel by Williams. Boy, when he gets into the open field, he is dangerous. He almost cut that back to the inside, made one more man miss, and he was going to take that to the end zone.
33-yard return for Williams. Five receivers out and incomplete, 2nd and 10. So for more on young Elway, let's go down below to Lisa Salters. Lisa?
That's right, Brent. I asked Jack yesterday, I asked him, you know, how did your teammates receive you, knowing that you were John Elway's son? He said the first couple of days of camp, everyone was kind of pointing and whispering, but after those first couple of days, it all went away. I asked him how often he talks to his dad, and he says about once a week. We talk about the last game, but obviously when I start playing, we're going to talk more because he obviously has all the answers.
2nd down and 10. DeWitty is now the running back. He picks up the rush man and incomplete on that play. When Erickson was talking about young Elway, said, did John ever call and give you any advice about his son? And he said, no. He said, we're friends because his father and my dad coached together back in their days up at Montana. But then he said, you know, one parent who might be able to interfere with the coaching staff would be him.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. Imagine the pressure there on Elway. He's young Elway, anyway.
I think Lisa told me, Kirk, that he's going to shed number 7.
That's a
Not
good idea.
particularly happy.
Good idea.
Wearing that number.
3rd down now coming up here, Kirk. And we got another timeout. So we've got a timeout here before a 3rd and 10. And I know you saw something down there that you wanted to make a point of here.
Willie Martinez is one of the better defensive coordinators in college football. What we've seen tonight is Rudy Carpenter, when he's had success, it's been either shotgun, quick throw, or a quick drop and a quick throw,
Right.
and they've had soft defensive coverage. The last 2 plays, Willie Martinez said, you know what, let's disrupt that easy throw and the timing. Let's walk up our secondary, try to lock in and engage with the receivers and make him hold on to the football. I was surprised they really didn't do that earlier, but they did it the last 2 plays. I think it rattled Rudy Carpenter. He held on to the ball, had to throw it away, and it's disrupted the rhythm here of Arizona State. We'll see what happens here on 3rd down.
Exactly. They sent DeWitty in, and he picked up a rush man as a running back. He was the pass protector that time. So let's take a look at 3rd and 10 and see what Martinez elects to do.
See if they walk him up again here, Brent. You see it here?
Yeah.
Right here?
Right in there.
Right here. Up tight.
3rd down and 10. Carpenter has to step away from it on the run. Intercepted. It was the pressure that set it up as Allen picks it off and makes it to the 35-yard line. He had to step away, but there is a penalty. Hang on. Carpenter is saying there's pass interference.
Allen, one of the corners, up tight.
They got defensive holding.
Yep.
This could be a first down.
That's right. Arizona State catching a break. Brent going back to that strategy.
Handling on the defense. Number 2. 10-yard penalty, previous spot. Automatic first down.
Asher Allen was up at the top, one of the guys that we circled, engaging and locking up Arizona State. And when Rudy Carpenter decided to step up into the pocket and buy time from your right to your left at the top, McGahey trying to fight and get away. Allen steps in front of him, and before he stepped in front of him, he's pushing on his back and holding on to the jersey, and that's what the call was.
The ball is being spotted close to midfield.
At the top here, they're both kind of pushing right there. Right at the end as McGahey tries to make his cut. You could see that he was slowed down right as he moved to the inside from Allen's presence. But I like to see Georgia coming up and challenging Rudy Carpenter and his receivers.
Georgia crowd boos its disfavor, and this time they rout the quarterback, led by Gamble. Darrell Gamble was there. We go to New York, and here's Matt.
All right, Brent, Sports Center in game, LSU and Auburn. This happening on ESPN, and this is by LSU Auburn standards, a shootout now. Chris Todd out of that spread to Robert Dunn. Well-thrown ball, touchdown, and the Auburn Tigers, the home Tigers, now have the lead 21-20. Again, this game playing out the finish on ESPN.
All right, Matt, keep an eye on that for us. And meanwhile here, the Sun Devils trying to keep a rally going, but they face a 2nd and 15 after the Gamble sack. Pressure again, and it is Jones who's going to be ripped down. That's Evans. The defensive backs, Kirk, of the Dogs are a physical bunch.
Yeah, I talked with Matthew Stafford last night about facing Arizona State, and he said, you know, the difference between the defenses we face in the SEC and our own defense is it's much more physical, in-your-face press coverage, whereas Arizona State's a little bit more of a finesse game. That time, Evans, of all the secondary personnel, he was the only defensive back giving Jones about an 8-yard cushion. And that's where Rudy Carpenter went with the football. Let's see if they give him the cushion anywhere or if they come up tight.
There's 3rd and 6 with play clock. Got it off. In trouble. Sprints away from it this time. May have to throw it away. And that brings up a 4th and 6 here late in the 3rd quarter, and Wynn is down injured for the Dogs.
Timing right now is really off with Rudy Carpenter. It's great coverage downfield. You can see 8 defenders from Georgia taking away every receiver. There's nowhere that Rudy can go with the football other than just throwing it away. Now, Georgia's coaches are fired up because I think they felt that Wynn was chop blocked. Took a shot at his leg there, and that's why he was down on the field.
Weber to punt. And Gray back to return. Fair catch is the signal at the 7-yard line.
This is what Willie Martinez and the coaches are very upset about. They wanted a
sort of rolled into him accidentally.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah. I think they just saw the end result of a Arizona State player going low at one of their players.
You know, we talked about quarterbacks, Kirk, at Georgia, Matthew Stafford and Joe Cox. Aaron Murray out of Plant High School over in Florida. He has said he's going to go to Georgia. He's one of the outstanding high school quarterbacks. Zach Mettenberger from Athens, Georgia, is still another one. So they are stockpiling quarterbacks, if you will. from his own goal line, complete, and Green makes his presence finally felt here in the second half with a 9-yard gain. He had 100 yards, big first half, as he went over the 100-yard mark. Had 150 in the first half. And now he's got 159 total.
And 7 catches for 150 in the first half with a touchdown. And surprised we haven't seen more of him here in the third quarter. This game's a long way from being over. A.J. Green will get his opportunities.
Moreno has found yards tough to go by, even though he has scored 2 touchdowns. And here he comes again. Noshan this time running to the sideline, running powerfully to the 29-yard line with Bolden. And there is a penalty flag.
The kid looked like maybe a face mask. We're going to add 15 yards on to the end of this play.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Omar Bolden has not been afraid to try to take on Noshan Moreno tonight, and right away grabbing that face mask. And again, there's no such thing as an incidental face mask. Every time you grab that mask, it's 15 yards.
And that'll bring the third quarter to an end. So ESPN Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Thanks, Tom, bringing on the wild ride. Yeah,
Tempe, Arizona, Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. And with Kirk Herbstreit and Lisa Salters, I'm Brad Musburger. We start the fourth quarter, 24-10. Student body a little quiet. And the Dogs come up with the ball on their own 43-yard line here for this first down. Matthew Stafford on a toss play. Noshan Moreno, their Heisman Trophy candidate, is knocked down. And a fine job by Morris Wooten. Well, George Hill has come up with the answer. The 2 fellas who hit more home runs at Arizona State than Barry Bonds, one of them we should have got. Bob Horner, number 1 all time.
God.
Okay, 76 to 78, hit 56. Second was Mitch Jones.
Come on.
That's
Mitch
what research
Jones.
came up with.
Okay.
You're on your own.
Bob Horner.
Bob Horner. Now, he was a powerful Atlanta Brave third baseman. Should have gotten him. Here we go now. Second down and 10. Fake stepping away is Stafford. Penalty flag thrown. Might be a little holding. Wooten again.
Georgia kept everybody in that time to help protect, maximum protection. 8 blockers to try to slow down Arizona State. He only had 2 receivers downfield, and they were well covered. He had nothing to do with the football.
Holding on the offense, number 63. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Here is the point in Tempe where sometimes fatigue starts to add up on visitors. Through the years, when you look at fourth quarters, Arizona State has staged some great comebacks here. Now, Georgia's used a lot of manpower tonight. They came in knowing that they had to. They've rotated offensive and defensive linemen. They've done a good job. But now we're going to test the conditioning of the Dogs in this particular weather. And traveling out here where it is now about 11 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. And bringing it this time is King, the backup running back.
And let's not forget the fourth quarter that both these teams played a week ago. Georgia holding on for dear life against South Carolina. Their defense creating some turnovers to win their game. And Arizona State up by 10 in the fourth quarter, only to lose to UNLV after 2 long drives against them.
Hey, Georgia, remember, now they started out the year rated number 1. They were the number 1 team in the country. They are unbeaten coming into this game, and yet they have fallen to number 3. There is a first down and more as Michael Moore crosses the 40-yard line.
What a job by Georgia's offensive line. That time, Matthew Stafford needed time. You see both backs staying in there to help out. Chappis and Caleb King. He's got receivers downfield, but it was the protection up front that allowed Moore to come across the field. One-on-one coverage against the safety, Troy Nolan. Good job up front by the Dogs.
244 yards Stafford has thrown for tonight. There's a deep handoff to King in a big hole, and King picks up 8. You know, I mentioned that they came in ranked number 1. Now, last 25 years, 3 teams have done the same thing. They've dropped from 1 to 3 without losing a game. Oklahoma and Nebraska twice, and guess what? All 3 have gone on to win the national championship.
Yeah.
So Dog fans, remember that. That could be a great omen.
Yeah,
second down and 3. Don't figure to move up this week, although it looks like it's going to be a volatile pull. Moreno slipped a little bit short of the first down marker because USC and Oklahoma, they're both out, right, this week?
Yeah. The important thing, I think, in this debate early in the year, and people get so excited about the polls because, again, our system is subjective and things matter that you can't control. But guys, just take a step back and look at Georgia's schedule. If Georgia wins their football games, everything is going to be just fine because they have the toughest schedule of any of the teams up there. They will eventually be rewarded by the computers and by the voters, but it's a long way to go. Right now they need to worry about just winning this and converting this third down.
Uh-oh, bad toss. Ball loose. Moreno on the bounce is surrounded. They're signaling face mask on that sideline, but there was no flag. They were begging for a penalty over there.
That ball is right into the hands of Moreno. Little misdirection. The flip is there. I think he put his eyes up on the defense to see where he might want to go as soon as he caught that football. Just a slight look up at the defense, took his eyes off the football, and almost gave Arizona State the football in a big turn of events.
They're not going to attempt an extra long field goal this time.
No.
They're going to try to pooch it in there. And Drew Butler, son of a Georgia legend, comes on. Kevin Butler's son pooches this one, drops it beautifully. Got it out of bounds. That's what he's on the field for. It'll be marked at the 10-yard line. Good job, young man. Drew Butler. The Sun Devils are backed up. Okay, stay tuned after the game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations. And over on ESPN, tune over there to SportsCenter for the post-game analysis as well as today's scores and highlights.
Look at the big fella.
He is, man. August 7. He's had a time in the desert. Got his first jet airplane trip and his first bus ride out here. Sat in first class. Had a meal catered to him. Well, Arizona State, they've got plenty of time, but they're going to have a rally here. McGahey. And Kirk, take a look at the Pacific Life game summary form.
Well, Moreno has not been dominant, but he's been spectacular. He's about to get over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns tonight. Add that to the highlight film. But how about the true freshman, A.J. Green? Mark Richt said this week he wants to get him the ball more. 8 times tonight, over 150 yards. But Rudy Carpenter doing just enough to keep Arizona State right now within striking distance, down 2 scores inside 10 minutes here to go in the game.
Second down and 7. It's that inside handoff to Nance, and he is tripped up. So this will bring up a big third down. Not so sure they wanted to run there.
No. I mean, the running game has not been there all night for this football team. They have 4 yards rushing on the night, and of course sacks take them back a little bit, but it just hasn't been a threat. It's been a one-dimensional attack for Arizona State. So as this game gets down inside, you're talking about 9 minutes, you need 2 scores. I don't know, I'd be wasting some time here running the football.
Carpenter to that far sideline, and Jones was interrupted by C.J. Bird.
C.J. Bird was thinking pick 6. That's a long throw and plenty of time. Look at Bird stepping in, just a step away from getting inside the receiver Jones, intercepting that and walking into the end zone. A long throw there by Rudy Carpenter allowed Bird to come over and knock that ball away.
River. Gray awaits it again. Should give Georgia outstanding field position. Dances in the middle. And he's down at the 45-yard line.
For a quarterback, I like the look of Gray. Nice looking athlete.
When we come back, we'll take a look at Uga's big trip to the desert. You can have some good times down there on Mill Avenue now, I'll tell you. And dog fans did. A lot of them arrived here yesterday, and they were mingling about with the Sun Devil folks. Take a look at Sun Devil Stadium here. Georgia leading 24-10. Stafford rolling, complete, and in a foot race, thrown down at the 2-yard line. Tavares King, his first catch of the evening, and it's a big one, 41 yards.
Just when you think Georgia's just going to run the clock out, how about a little play action? Fake the ball, the carry to the left, come back to the other side, and throw it here to a young man who hasn't made many plays, not only tonight, but on the season, and a perfectly thrown ball by Stafford in front of King to allow him to hit him in stride and run up the field.
Looking for a clincher. Toss. Trying to get Moreno his 3rd touchdown of the game. For those of you who just watched LSU come back late in the 4th quarter over Auburn, Georgia leading 24-10 over Arizona State and threatening to go in again. I believe, isn't Georgia and Alabama on the docket?
Oh, yeah. Next week. Next week. I think I'll be there in the morning anyway before we head to State College.
I'll see you at State College in the evening.
Yeah.
Get that blimp, the bloomin' onion.
That's right.
Second down and goal. Here's Moreno. Does he get the 3rd one there? Close.
This has been an impressive performance tonight by Georgia. Sometimes you feel pressure. You know, you've won 3 in a row. The whole nation's watching. They want to see a big show on a big stage. And, you know, the game started off a little slow until they had the big drive. But this has been a workmanlike performance tonight by Mark Richt. And if they score here, they go up by 3 touchdowns on the road in a Pac-10 school that's a pretty good team in Arizona State. This is an impressive win by Georgia tonight.
Over the top, and there's no signal. They say he's short. So they tried to get Noshan his 3rd touchdown, and Wooten, who returned to the lineup, said not tonight.
Well, the players on the field want to go for it, but Mark Richt, realizing that if he kicks the field goal here, he puts this at a 3-possession game. If I'm Mark Richt, I might want to take a look at that. That looked like Noshan Moreno came down in the end zone. He was met by an Arizona State defender.
Field is under review.
Yeah, you look at this one again. I'd like to see where Noshan Moreno came down, because it looked like before he touched down, that ball got very close to breaking the plane of the end zone. Let's see, the goal line. Let's see if he's that left knee touched.
it's going to be hard to say that this is conclusive.
Yes, it is.
To overturn the call on the field.
Left knee touches right there. It's hard to see where the football is.
This could be difficult to overturn. Remember, they had a tough call on a reception. It's called incomplete on the field. Arizona State was moving down. If you weren't with us down the sideline, would have been a big play. Game was scoreless. Now, Matthew Stafford, the quarterback tonight, 285 yards he's thrown for. That is a career high. It is interesting that he has never had a 300-yard game. Now, when you look at the other side of the field, Rudy Carpenter's had 11 300-yard games. But this is his career high here tonight, 285. Very efficient.
And the reason that's the case is Georgia has such balance. I mean, they're going to run the football. I mean, when you play Georgia, you know that you better be ready to be hit physically up front, and you have to be able to defend Georgia's running game. So Mark Richt is more about not creating Heisman Trophy candidates, but having balance within his offense, and that's going to take away from some of the huge numbers that Matthew Stafford could put up.
6:18 left here, and got the ruling from upstairs, and here we go.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Georgia ball, 4th down.
Yep. Based on the
here's 4th down now. Remember, he has the field goal kicker, Walsh, already on the field, trying to put it in a 3-score situation, trying to make it 27-10. I mean, unless the players have talked him out of it, this is the percentage play.
I think the players did all the begging they could.
Yeah.
And he said, let's go up 3 possessions.
Absolutely. Punters is Holder. Walsh, the youngster from Fort Lauderdale, freshman, has a tremendous future. Let's see if this ball explodes off his leg. We've got 2 good field goal kickers here tonight. This will be a 17-yarder.
Looks like they're going to take the delay to try to get a better angle.
And that'll make it a 22-yarder. But Kirk said better angle. So Dennis Erickson and the Sun Devils will have to take dead aim at the Pac-10 now. And let's check in with Lisa.
Well, Brent, Herbie was wondering if the players were able to convince Mark Richt to go for it. Not a chance. They came off the field griping, and he had to remind them who the coach was. I can't tell you everything he said, but he said, you had your chance. We're doing this my way.
That's good.
And that's what he should say. That is true. That ball does explode. So there's 27-10. 17-point lead. Arizona State needs 3 scores. Timeout. Sun Devil Stadium with Georgia in command, protecting that number 3 rating. One of the elite teams in the country, showing again here tonight that they're going to be in contention all the way for that BCS Coaches Trophy at the end of the year. Here's their freshman getting ready to kick it off. The goal line. Williams to the middle of the field, dances left, looks for Alley, got his blocker on the left side of him, and then I believe he was down before the ball came loose. Let's go to Matt Weiner for a Sports Center right now. Matt.
All right, Brent, Sports Center right now, powered by Vizio, and here's how LSU finished off that big win at Auburn. Jarrett Lee, who had an ugly interception, returned for a touchdown in the first half, bounced back with a pair of touchdown passes, including that one to Brandon LaFell. It held up as the game winner with 1:03 left in the game. LSU gets its 6th straight win against a top 10 opponent.
Yeah, LSU, one of the 5 SEC teams in the AP top 10. Remarkable accomplishment. Carpenter gets it off just in time to Taylor. Taylor crosses midfield, out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Now, we have mentioned the polls, so let's take a look at the ESPNU All-State Standings review here, Kirk.
You see USC and Oklahoma idle this week. Georgia, an impressive win tonight against Arizona State. The Gators making a statement, and I think finally starting to find their rhythm offensively. Missouri's a scoring machine. LSU, an impressive impressive win to go on the road and beat Auburn. And I'll tell you, it's setting itself up. It's going to be fun year this year.
So who replaces Auburn at number 10?
I think Penn State's starting to get in the discussion.
A little bit, yeah. McGahey. He's got a great set of hands, that youngster right there, number 13 for the Sun Devils. I mentioned they can take dead aim at the Pac-10. That's going to be the goal that they're going to go after now. After losing here, and of course the heartbreak. They didn't lost, as I recall, Dennis lost only one home game last year. That might have been to USC on a Thursday night or so. I don't remember now. But I think that, and now this will be their second setback here as Jones to the 31-yard line, because they lost last week in overtime to Vegas, and it was a loss that the coaching staff at least had a very difficult time shedding. I mean, that bothered them almost all week. Players, I guess, by Tuesday, Wednesday, they told me they were back.
Yeah, I mean, you think about taking a loss tonight. You lost last week to UNLV. You have Cal coming up. You have Oregon coming up. You have USC coming up. UNLV lost last week. I mean, it's a tough 4, 5, 6 week stretch here for Arizona State.
Carpenter heaving to the end zone, incomplete. Yeah, well, one thing about Vegas, they're ahead of Iowa State tonight, so they might be just a little bit better than anybody thought they were. And again, with the Arizona State players told us that they just kept hanging in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and then finally they whipped them in the fourth quarter.
It's one of those classic examples where a team that you wouldn't think has any business being on the field with a power kind of hangs around for 2 or 3 quarters, starts to believe, and then all of a sudden things start to fall their way. That was a classic example last week of that with Arizona State and UNLV.
Second down and 10 for Carpenter and the Sun Devils. Incomplete. Let me remind you to stay tuned after the game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations, over on ESPN. Tune over to SportsCenter, post-game analysis, as well as today's scores and highlights. LSU, a winner tonight over Auburn. Comeback win there. Florida, impressive against Tennessee. Alabama explodes on Arkansas. So the SEC, BYU and Utah both win, so they stay in the chase as BCS busters. And Carpenter goes long, receivers covered out of bounds. So 72,955, many leaving, and guess who's joining them? Uga said, let's get out there, boys and girls. Uga was a rock star everywhere he went. People want picture taken with Uga.
All right. He took care of business tonight. Let's head back home and get ready for Nick Saban in Alabama.
Got to remember about Uga. Solid white, must be a male, and must be the son of the previous Uga. And of course, Uga 6 passed away a few months back, and so now we've got Uga 7 holding court. My favorite was Uga 5. I believe that was Uga 5, who took a bite out of an Auburn receiver. That was my all-time favorite Uga. Carpenter, and they're waving complete. Going to be marked.
He's going to be short on 4th down. It looks like he's short.
Kyle Williams, the target that time.
The only thing left to do for Georgia is to get Sean Moreno over 100 yards. He's right at 98 yards right now.
Didn't get it. So on 4th and 10, 9 yards won't do it.
I love the intensity now of Mark Richt. You know, he took some heat from people who are not Georgia fans about what he did with Florida. Then he came out with the black jerseys against Auburn. I love it. I love to see that side of Mark Richt.
I agree. Mark Richt, of course, was a quarterback at Miami, was on the Florida State staff. Dennis Erickson was the head coach at Miami, and Mark Richt called plays for Bobby Bowden against him, and a couple of huge losses staged by the Hurricanes snapped long winning streaks. So they're two old-time foes, and here tonight, Mark Richt has got the upper hand. Timeout. Well, great views tonight being provided by the Outback Steakhouse airship, the Bloomin' Onion 1. Captain Paul Hino has been at the controls of the Bloomin' Onion tonight. There's a fan favorite every week on ABC, ESPN college football broadcast. Next Saturday night, the Fighting Illini will be in State College to take on Penn State Nittany Lions. How good are the Nittany Lions? Are they ready to replace Ohio State at the top of the Big Ten, or will Illinois, a surprise Rose Bowl participant last year, be able to hang on this season? We shall see next Saturday night what unfolds. And somewhat surprising to see Moreno. There's a penalty flag. Is that another face mask?
He's got his 100 yards now. That's what I think they wanted to get him over 100 after the game that he's played tonight. Little face mask. Another 15 yards on the back end. This time it looks like it's Troy Nolan.
So they'll tack this on the end of it.
2 fouls on the play. Both are personal foul, face mask penalties on the defense. The second one will be enforced 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Can you take 30 yards for that?
Well, this was ugly. Get me on that jet up in Atlanta way. This is all right. Yes, indeed. What are all these people doing out here? Look at all the photos. Everybody wants a picture. Let's get on down the road. First class treatment for Uga now. And we arrive. Hey, it's a little warm out here. Kirk, I didn't think it was going to be that hot. In the desert, the wonderful adventure of Uga as he comes west. I guess the last time Georgia had a big road trip was the 2000 Bowl over in Honolulu, when they flew over there. But during the regular season, you got to go back to the 60s. See when they ventured west of the Mississippi. Here's Moreno ripping loose again to the 11-yard line. And let's go to Matt Weiner in New York for an update.
All right, Brent, Uga was big time tonight, but he is not our nominee for the AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week. That honor goes to Michigan State's Javon Ringer, who carried it 40 times against Notre Dame for 201 yards and a pair of touchdowns. To cast your vote, text VOTE to 51234 on your AT&T wireless telephone.
All right, Matt, and it looks like Moreno's work night is finally done. 149 yards, one shy of 150, 2 touchdowns, one a spectacular one that you will see on SportsCenter later, and ESPN News, all the rest of the channels, I'm sure. King has come in to finish this one up with 2:40 to go, and the unbeaten Dogs. Let's go back and take a look at this, because this is really a spectacular toss play. Had a block. Was getting forced out of bounds, and he went airborne.
It reminds me so much of Reggie Bush, when Reggie Bush used to get to the corner and go up into the air.
You're right. And he's bigger.
Oh, gosh. What athletic ability. And style points for the landing.
That was good landing. That was one of his best.
Well, the whole nation got a chance to see No Sean Moreno tonight.
Yep. And a pretty good defense. You know, we talk about the offensive stars that we've got here on this team, but this Georgia defense, everybody in the SEC gonna have their hands full. When I looked at the schedule before the start of the season,
it looked impossible.
Yeah, I thought so. But let's take another look at it. Let's think home and road here. On the left side, of course, those are the games in Athens, Alabama, and Tennessee there. Now let's talk about the road here. Going to get by tonight. You got to go to LSU. You got to go to Auburn. Those could be tough games.
You get Alabama, who's a great team. Tennessee, who's struggling. Vandy, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech could be
interesting just because of that option attack. Yeah. And then, by the way, if you survive all of that, don't forget the bottom. The Gators in Jacksonville. And then if you survive all that, you go to Atlanta and get punished. You have to play in the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
don't forget that.
Run that table, and you deserve to be in Miami.
Right.
Okay?
Give them a pass.
No questions asked.
No, you get to go play LSU in the SEC title round 2.
King is battle for the end zone and stopped there right at the first down marker. The time running down, 1:26, and Georgia might tack on still another one here.
Well, we saw USC up close and in person last week. We saw Florida, right? I think it's the top 2 or 3 team in the country right now. We saw them a few weeks ago, still trying to kind of find their identity. And I think athletically, you put Georgia in that group. And the big thing with Georgia is, how long is it going to take for them to start to grow up on the offensive line where they work as a unit? If they do that, if they continue to get better up front with the skill that they have, boy, they're going to be very tough for anybody to beat.
There's one team. I guess I'm a little short here again. One team we haven't talked about this year out of the Big 12. What? No, 2. Oklahoma and Missouri are 2 teams we can't go to sleep on.
No.
Those teams have put up a ton of points and have been extremely impressive. And we'll have to see how Texas comes along.
Yeah,
well, there was an NFL scout over there told me earlier today that he thought that maybe they were a couple years away.
Texas is sitting there at 7th in the country. Nobody's talking much about them. They're going to try to put it in here.
Yeah, and Arizona State stops
for pride.
Gave to the fullback. Gave Champus a shot. That's one thing the coaches can work on, is that running game inside the 5-yard line.
That's right. Kickoff coverage, too. We got plenty to work on. Nice win.
So that's going to do it. Georgia comes west. Captures a win. They will head back tonight. They will arrive at daybreak. Bus on, and then they've got just a few days to get ready for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. The hardest part of this road trip is not coming out here and winning this game. It's going to be that turnaround to face Alabama. Fortunately for Georgia, it's a home game. With the long trip home, and then the bus ride over to Athens. Let's check in now with Lisa and Matthew Stafford.
Thank you, Brent. Matthew, they came out hot in the second half. How were you guys able to hold them off?
Our defense did a great job. I think we played aggressive on defense. Was big for us. We were able to hold the ball. We didn't put in touchdowns like we like. We got to work on that and make sure when we get down here and inside the 5, we can really put it in. And our special teams did a great job too.
Your favorite target tonight, AJ Green. What was the most impressive reception that he had tonight in your eyes?
He had a bunch of them, really. He's a great player. He's a young kid. I'm excited to see what he's got to get to this program in the future, and we're just excited about him.
And of course, you're used to seeing no Sean, but what was going through your mind when he made that spectacular dive into the end zone for that first touchdown?
That was awesome. I need half the guys on our team need a trampoline to make that play. So he's a heck of an athlete, and happy he's on our side. And
how badly did you guys want to score just then? Because I know you told me before the game you felt like you have to crush somebody in order to get some respect in the polls.
Yeah, we're trying to be safe with the ball. The last couple times we got it in here. Wish we could have gotten 7 both times, but it happens.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Brent.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And Bill Bunnell, our producer, and Derek Mobley, our director, have selected A.J. Green of Georgia as the Chevy player of the game for the Dogs, and quarterback Rudy Carpenter of Arizona State, 23 of 36, 200 yards and a touchdown. And Kirk Green was spectacular in the first half.
Well, it was exciting to watch him play tonight, but more importantly for Georgia, after the way things went at South Carolina last week, this was big for them to get back out on the road, take care of business on the West Coast, and as you said, get ready to roll next week back at home against Alabama.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our final score: Georgia under Mark Richt 27, Arizona State 10. Next Saturday again, we'll be in State College, Pennsylvania. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. It'll be number 22 Illinois taking on number 16 Penn State at 8 Eastern. For Lisa Salters and Kirk Herbstreit and our entire gang, I'm Brent Musburger. Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC.